It's just an old beat up truck. Some say that I should trade.
I like this song. Dirks Bentley, I Hold On. It's a little after 5 o'clock. Time for us to go live from the main radio studio here at Halfway to Hell Plaza. 333 Derry Road is where it's at. It's live, and today we've got a great guest. We'll talk a little bit about his new album that's coming out. A radical departure, dare I say, from the previous albums, but with a great story, and I shared some of it last week. We'll get all into that in just a second. Right now, Pete's in the control room, so Peter, let's roll the intro and get this show started.
And now, live from Akaku, Maui's Community Media Center in beautiful Kahului, Maui, now a man after his own heart, people's wallets, Maui's most beloved Rotarian, it's Shaggy.
Thank you, Joel. All right, joining us in the studio today, a man, a myth, a dread in his own mind and on his own scalp. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Marty Dread.
Aloha.
Yeah, you like that? I just did the big intro and he's like, okay. Well, first off, I want to say this is great because this is the second radio station that I've had the ability to bother Marty with.
Imagine that. It's cool, though. It's cool to see you back in your element, man.
Well, I really love things over here at Akaku, and I thought now that we're into doing our normal shows around this time, it's time that I bring the big guns out, and Marty, of course, is the first call I made.
Bazooka Dread.
The Bazooka Dread.
You know, it's interesting. It seems like I follow you on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. I had no idea you were doing radio and a live TV show. Somehow this eluded me, and I feel bad. I'm like, wait a minute, he's starting this whole new path, and he's doing big things. I had no idea. I walked in, I felt like such a dunce. So apologies. I didn't really realize the magnitude of what you're doing here. This is great.
It's okay. A lot of people don't know the magnitude of my stupidity at times.
Well, you know.
Well, we have to talk about magnitude things because I brought this up on last week's show when we were talking all about the new format of Keaku and hey, let's let the audience decide going forward what kind of music we should play. So first off, I should announce that the polling has been done and they have said keep country.
Nice.
Keep the country. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Wonderful.
And then I got to trolling Facebook, you know, because I'm bored and I'm a stalker. And I saw that you have a new album out. And the thing is this is an album that I have been talking to you for about 2 years, 3 years
yeah.
They're doing.
Yeah.
And it's finally coming out. It's called Upcountry.
Upcountry Boy.
Upcountry Boy. First off, who did the photography?
Classmate of mine, Jennifer. Sorry, she's a schoolmate of mine. We go way back. Her name is Jennifer Stevens. She's got a great company. You guys can find her online at Unique Art Hawaii. She's done about, I think she has done 6 of my album covers. She did the Both Greatest Hits. She did On the Beach. She's just a fantastic photographer, and I always use her when I can. A Maui girl from Kihei.
And I mean, you know, if you take a look at the picture, let's see if I can blow this up to full screen here. But if you take a look at the picture here, this is Marty with the chaps and a guitar.
Yeah.
And this
I'm
is
sorry. I thought you meant the graphic artist.
Oh, no.
This photographer is Penny Palmer, actually, another Kihei girl.
Oh, okay. And did you? How did you tell somebody? Hey, I know I do reggae music, and can you just take pictures of me looking all kinds of cowboyish? and they didn't automatically look at you and go,
well,
what?
You know, it was interesting with this particular project. Everything happened naturally, from the photography to the music production, the people that came into the studio and just said, I want in on this project. It's just been so weird. This photo shoot actually happened like, saw her one day and she said, I'm a photographer, and I said, I've got this new record. And I knew she was good because I looked at her website that night, and I came to her and I said, look, I'm going to go get a bunch of cowboy gear and I'm going to just suit up. Let's find a ranch somewhere and shoot. Literally the next day we had this shot done.
Wow.
It was so like, I never do things that easy. It's always like pulling teeth. But this project, I'm telling you, man, it's like all the momentum, all the stars are aligning with this project.
And the thing about this project that really gets me is because you're passionate about your music. And for years, we've always talked about different styles that you've done, different artists that you've played with. And there was always this constant current of, I want to do a country album. I want to do a country album.
I've always just been in love with country songs, you know, so it's for me, it's like a bridging of the gaps, because a lot of people that like their kind of music. Let's say you're a jazz head. You don't necessarily like country. You don't necessarily like rock. Or if you're a rock head, you don't necessarily like R&B or rap. I like to bring out the best songs in whatever genre it is. For me, I've always been a songs guy. It's probably from my background in radio. For me, if the song isn't good, I don't care what genre it's in. It's not good.
Yeah.
You know? So with this country project, what I tried to do was take memorable country songs and bring them to a new audience that wouldn't be able to hear songs like this because they don't listen to country because they don't like it. They have some, vibe against it because it's country. But it's like, hey man, within this genre is such a wealth of writing and such a wealth of good songs and stories. So I'm just trying to bridge the two audiences, like bring people to this medium that wouldn't necessarily come over. So it's kind of like I'm trying to smooth the waters a little bit.
You're trying to play like a redneck ambassador for now.
I tried to do them like straight country, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do a song better than Kenny Chesney. I'm not going to do a song better than Conway Twitty. So what I tried to do is kind of put an island feel on country classics. I started off this project 3 or 4 years ago with 15 or 16 original country songs. And I tried to record them. Like, you should hear those demos. You'd probably laugh me out of the room. I tried to get it done so that it was like it's still me, but it was like a complete flip of the coin. Like it's Marty Dread's voice singing on a country beat. But I decided the better thing to do would be to take classic country songs and sort of bring them over my way. Because I tried both ways. I tried taking reggae songs and making them country, and it was really trippy.
Wow.
It was really trippy. So I thought this with 3 experiments happened. One was trying to take classic reggae songs like Desmond Decker,
Israelites, things like
songs
that.
like that, and make them like with a country backbeat. Just didn't work. Somehow it just didn't work. And then I tried to write a bunch of original songs that were recorded like a country band would record them. And that, I mean, it kind of worked, but I didn't just feel it didn't have a believability to it, With this now, taking recognizable country songs that people already know and love and bringing them into sort of an island reggae feel and beat, it just, all the doors just fell right open. It was like, why hasn't anybody done this before?
The thing that gets me, though, is especially when it comes to local bands that cover artists, a lot of the big covers that we have in quote-unquote island music are country.
Lots of them, yeah.
And that's what really gets me about your new project, because I'm going, here's somebody that's actively pointing the finger and saying, oh, this is the origins. Let's do it as a straight interpretation. So before we get into the interpretation part, let's get into how did you get started liking country music? Because, like I said, in the sphere out there in Maui entertainment and in reggae world, Marty Dread is a reggae artist.
Right.
How do we go from the 9 Ward to the trailer park?
Well, this started for me as a very young boy. When my brothers and sisters were going to school in New York and Massachusetts, they would come home singing stuff by like the Jackson 5 and like the Commodores and all the big pop acts of the day. But I always liked like Rhinestone Cowboy, and like they would say, how are you singing this stuff? You don't even know this stuff. You're not from Alabama. But I always liked the stories of country music. And all through my life, and even as my career as a reggae musician developed, I always picked, I don't know if you've noticed from my archive of music, I always pick country songs. Even if I just do one cover on my record, it's almost always a country song. Another Day in Paradise, She Don't Know She's Beautiful. Those songs, for me, are about stories. And where I draw the parallel with reggae and country is, it's like the common man in the street, and whatever he extracts out of life, the good, the bad, the ugly, he puts that in his song, and that's why it's so believable. Same thing with reggae artists. They are just, it's the man in the street and his story of his struggle of life. And that's why, for me, they're so similar and almost interchangeable in some way, which is why I really wanted to make this project happen, because I really believe that the stories are such, I mean, there's just such a believability about, like, here's a good example, a song like Live Like You Were Dying by Tim McGraw.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one in the world that could listen to that song and say that's not a believable lyric. Because it's how life unfolds. That is exactly how life is. And, he's not singing about move and get out of the way. It's like, this is a real life story of a real life human being who's going through something. and you just believe it. And those are the songs I tried to pick.
So when it comes to musical stuff, you're saying that the best stuff, at least for you as the artist, is something that has a definite story to tell. Because
For sure.
let's just be honest, in the pop world now, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. You know,
I don't think they even know what they're talking about sometimes.
it's boiled down to
Yeah.
collectively a couple of refrains repeated over and over and over again.
And the beat's all right, so people buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, storytelling in music seems to be going away as far as the
Yeah.
modern trend, with the exception of country music.
And that hopefully will always be the trend, because that's where we find the best stories. I mean, Nashville is a cauldron of exceptional writers, pickers, guitar. I mean, just all the best talent comes out of there. And if that place were to just cease to exist, there would be just that many less well-written songs in the world. So many good songs come out of this genre. It's incredible.
And when it comes to like you being an artist on your own, has there ever been a point where you, before we became Marty Dread, worldwide reggae ambassador, that you ever thought, man, I should really gravitate towards Nashville?
You know, I've always wanted to do a record in Nashville. I don't think I've ever considered doing country before the last 5 or 6 years. I'd always kind of wanted to challenge myself musically, step outside outside the box, as it were. But I don't think I've ever really gave it too much thought. Maybe I thought it was just out of my realm. I couldn't go to Nashville and just sit in there with the top cats and come out with something good. Now I believe that anything's possible. Some of the cats I played on this record was, I mean, there's guys that played with Glenn Campbell and Dwight Yoakam, played on this record, and they love this stuff. They're like, oh my God, why hadn't anyone done this before? These two musics are almost married.
Really?
They just sound so good together. When you hear a reggae track with the lap steel and that country backbeat, it's almost like, wow, this is refreshing. It's just a cool rendition of a song. I mean, it just gives it a different. I think what it boils down to too is the beat is so identifiable when it's country. You know, nowadays country is almost like soft rock.
Yeah.
You don't really hear a lot of like really good pickers, really good storytelling. It's still there, but it's not as signature as it was 25 years ago. When you heard a Kenny Rogers song come on the radio 25 years ago, that was country.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can hear Rascal Flatts or Lady Antebellum. You don't really know if that's country, if it's AC rock. It's all kind of melded together.
Perfect example would be Sugarland and bands like Lady Antebellum, crossover pop, crossover country. Taylor Swift.
They call it country, but it's not necessarily like true blue old school country. Like stuff you and your dad used to listen to.
Oh, man.
That's country.
Yeah.
That's what people expect when they hear country.
Well, who do you think is the most country person still out there? I mean, because for me, it's like, okay, well, it ends and begins with George Strait.
George Strait is the ultimate #1 man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as the new batch of country, do we have any more great storytellers coming out?
I think Hank 3 is probably pretty close.
Oh,
I mean,
Hank 3 sounds like Hank 1. That's spooky.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
You know?
And you know, we've lost so many of the real good original ones. I mean, Ray Price just died early this year. You know,
George
when we
Jones.
start losing the George Joneses and people like that, it's like that art form just goes out the door with them sometimes. But I mean, there are a lot of young artists that I'm not even aware of. When I listen to country radio, I don't really hear a whole lot of really, really authentic sounding songwriters. I hear good singers, but I don't hear like really old school songwriting style. That's, you know, to me, that's like Waylon Jennings and Conway Twitty and all those old
Merle
guys.
Haggard.
Yeah, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Ray Price. Those guys are the real OG writers. You can't leave out Willie, of course. Willie's
Oh, God. You never leave out Willie.
You can't leave him out.
On Maui?
Who, by the way, is having another moment with his writing. He's got his first original album in, you know, like 9 years or something
I was
coming
about to
out.
say, almost close to a decade.
Yeah. So he's kind of on a writing kick. So go, Willie.
Well, I mean, you and Willie actually know each other. You've recorded a song with him not too long ago, him and Toots Hibberts. I played it on the other station.
Right.
Worried Man. And that was a song originally by
June and Johnny Cash.
June. And
They both wrote that together. That's a song that Willie picked out of their archive. But Willie was sort of a forerunner. I never really thought about this till this moment, but Willie took a bunch of country songs and made a reggae album called
Countryman.
Countryman, okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. His is called man and mine's called boy. That's sort of telling. That's sort of telling, actually, isn't it?
At this point, I'd be like, Dad?
Yeah, that's sort of telling. But that was sort of a forerunner for me. Maybe in some unconscious way, I thought about that. Like, well, these two mediums work, and it's all about the songs. If the songs can stand a reggae treatment, it works. It sounds good that way.
And I guess on some level, when you listen to a country song, if it's going to be a good one, because you can almost, in your mind, at least if you're crazy like me and you, remove the backbeat, change it completely into a different genre style, keep the lyrics on it, and it's like, that's still a good song.
It's still a good song.
I will still listen to that song.
Right.
And when it comes to your new project, Country Boy.
Upcountry. Let's
Upcountry
clarify.
Boy.
It's called Upcountry Boy.
Upcountry Boy.
Yeah.
Still a boy. But when you go to do that and you're looking at all of the songs that you could possibly want to do, how did you come to decide on these tracks?
Man, that took years. I started off with about 90 songs.
Easily.
Songs that I was evenly in love with. Like I could have done any of those 90, boil that down to 15. It would have been just as in love with the other 75 songs. Somehow, you have to go through a process of elimination as far as which ones will really lend themselves to this kind of a treatment. Go through it and play it in a reggae kind of a strum. And some of them worked and some of them didn't work so well. But, if you listen to it, there's songs in there from 1955. There's songs in there from 1980. There's songs in there from 2005.
Wow.
So it kind of spans several decades of stuff. But for me, choosing the songs was partially in my genre, in reggae music. Almost nothing is taboo. They cover everything.
Yeah.
So part of it was, how do I find some songs that haven't been covered?
That had to be a hard process.
That was tough because, I didn't even have to do any searching because I know this music from 26 years of radio experience. I know which ones have had reggae versions of them and which ones don't, just sort of innately. Like this song is never done in reggae. So that was part of it. And the other part of it was just I had to find stories that fit me in a believability kind of way. Like if Marty sings that song, is it going to come off believable? So that was partially that and partially which ones hadn't been done.
So automatically,
like this.
That eliminated Dolly Parton's work in 9 to 5.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, I don't look for songs that are
just big hits.
Most of them are big hits, but they're ones that have a special feeling for people. Like You Don't Know Me. That song's almost anyone who likes country from way back in the day either knows or likes that song. Or for instance, let's take another one from the record, like You Had Me From Hello.
Oh yes.
Okay, so there's a certain sentimental value with certain songs. If you find a song like that and you like it and you resonate with it, doesn't matter how much time passes, you'll go back to that song and always like that song. So I had to find songs that had special meaning for people.
Well, I notice a lot of the themes that you pick are along the romance, along the relationship, and the maturing as a person. Those are the kind of storylines that I've always seen you gravitate toward. Is there any reason that these themes keep reoccurring in your own life?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I just try to find songs that feel right to sing. I couldn't really sing a song about struggling in the ghetto and all that stuff if I never lived that. What I have lived is I've lived several relationships through several children, and I've lived those stories of love triumphs and love failures, and I can believe those, and so I can portray them more honestly. I can't really portray something that I'm not super familiar with emotionally.
And
so
that's
those are the
important.
ones that you can't sell a song if you've never lived it. Some people can do it, but I can't.
Well, that's another thing. As far as like guys that I know that are in the entertainment field right now, you're one of the ones, I dare I say one of the only ones that actually concentrates on believability. Everybody else will grab the mic. Oh, what are we singing? Oh, that's on the set list. Let's do it. You dissect songs, not only your own songs, but other people's songs. And you think, how does this relate back to me?
Yeah.
And there's always this authenticity of your
Well,
performance.
Thanks. That's not a common comment on my music, but I feel like I consciously try to be believable when a song is delivered by me. I want it to be something that people went, okay, yeah, he's feeling that.
Yeah, can I get an example, just like real quick off the top of your head, if you can think about it? Is there an example of a song that you like as far as the country music format is concerned, but you're thinking, yeah, I can't perform it. It's not authentic to me.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
I purposely stay away from songs like that, songs that are just sort of gimmicky. Mm-hmm. I like the stories. They tend to be more of the ballady kind of stuff that the guy's just telling a story. There's a song by George Jones that I just totally fell in love with. I had like 6 of his songs in that 90. I had Choices. I had Bed of Roses. There's so many songs that guy sang that are just get you right. Mm-hmm. The Cold Hard Truth, songs like that. You know that song?
Yeah.
Cold Hard Truth. I tried to get some of those songs, but onto this list and down to the final 15 or whatever, but I just couldn't make them believable enough.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I love those songs, but I couldn't make them believable enough, because when that guy makes a song, he just makes you emote. You know, some songs are meant to be just left to the masters. You don't mess with an Is song. You don't mess with a Bob Marley song. You don't, you know what I mean? You don't mess with a Willie Nelson song. Who's going to sing a Willie Nelson song better than Willie Nelson? You just don't do it.
Lucas.
Well, he'll do it as well. I'm not sure about better, but he'll do it as well as Willie, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's from his bloodline. That's not sacrilege. It's my daddy's song. Okay, that's different. That's like Ziggy Marley singing a Bob Marley song. Okay, I'll grant you that.
Exactly.
You know?
Nobody can.
But
really
I can't do it. I can't. I'm not gonna get in front of 20,000 Jamaicans and try and sing a Bob Marley song. That's not gonna happen. No. It'd be like me going to Nashville and trying to sing,
Chet Atkins.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
We got to pick one of the big ones.
Believable. Not gonna be believable.
Wow. Yeah, and speaking of believable and stuff, I mean, as far as like country music, would you ever do a country music tour? Would you ever play with some of these other guys?
Well, I have done. I've obviously toured with Willie, and I've toured with Neil Young and all those sort of big cats that Willie tours with, because he's invited me out to tour with him, and I've done Farm Aid, and every country artist and the mother is on that bill. But I think as far as me pairing up with a country act and doing a country tour of spots like hot spots for country music, I would love to do that, because I just think the experience of it would be good for me, and seeing how the audiences react. I mean, I've seen all those guys play live. I've seen Tim McGraw. I've seen Kenny Chesney. Name the country act. I've seen them pretty much on the road with Willie, either opening for Willie or sharing the bill with him or whatever.
Yeah. Don't share the bus, by the way. I've heard that's bad news when you share Willie's bus.
It's probably not. Well, he doesn't share a bus with anybody except his wife. That's his bus.
Yeah, well,
they got crew bus. They got opening band bus. Willie's bus is Willie's house.
And then they got Marty's van.
Yeah, you don't want to be in his house. So anyway, I think I would do it. It would have to be the right situation, though. I'd have to have the right band. Mm-hmm. And it can be really hard to be on the road with people sometimes, and that's kind of why I don't tour as much as I used to. I used to tour a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't tour as much as I used to, because the road nowadays is how do I put this? You have to really think about your life and what your priorities are in life. My priorities in life are not the road right now. I like making records. I like promoting records. I like getting out there and doing shows, but it's just not where I'm at as a person right now. I'm just not into the touring.
That's kind of a hard thing to admit, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is, because this is how business. I make a living. I know. And I do shows. In fact, Friday I'm leaving for 3 weeks. I'm playing in Oklahoma and Vegas and California. I'd still do it, but I don't do it nearly as frequently as I used to do it.
Wow.
Because it's not, in America anyway, it's not as, first of all, it's not as profitable as it used to be. And it's also not as, it just seems very convoluted at the moment in my genre. In America, speaking of reggae, in my genre, you have more American reggae bands doing well than you do their original Jamaican bands, right? So all those bands are all on the road doing their thing. And so when you have a beckoning music scene like that, when you've got a scene that's really happening, there's so many people, you're not unique anymore.
Wow.
For me to go to Europe and do it would be different. For me to go to Thailand and do it would be like, wow, here's this reggae guy doing country songs. This is really unique. In America, there's just so much of it going on right now. I mean, you got your revolutions, you got your sojas, you got your tribal seeds. There's so much of it. I just don't stand out.
Wow.
I like to stand out. If I'm going to go do a big show, you want to stand out. You know, you want to do something that is different. It's outside the box. And if there's a festival happening this next weekend, it's called the California Roots Festival or something.
Yeah, the Cali Roots.
Every band and their mother is on that bill. So you go tour, and you end up on a bill like that, and you just sort of lost in the shuffle of everyone else that's in there. Unless you come with something totally outside the box. When you're set, when the day is done and 90 bands played, when they walk away and go, wow, Marty Dread played a bunch of country songs. That was really weird. Whether they liked it or not, they walked away remembering it. And that's what you want. When you leave the comfort of your home and you're going to go on tour and do stuff, 10,000 miles away from your home, you want it to be effective. You want it to leave its mark so you can go back and tour there next year. If you just do a show, take your little paycheck and go home, you probably should have just stayed home. Because what was it all really for?
It's a good point. Well, speaking of...
Because I can make the same or better money here. That's the point I'm making.
Oh, I know. But now we got to talk parallels. Because this is a big parallel that I'm going to make about a comment that you just said that's going to all tie in to June 4th and the release of Country Boy. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
I think right now in the stage of your career, would it be fair for somebody to come along and say that you're going through a Ray Charles moment? You remember in the movie Ray, he was doing a lot of great, I guess what we could call pop, but then all of a sudden he wanted to do this country and western album in the middle of it.
Off the trail.
And everybody flipped. They're going, no, Ray, you can't do this. Right. You're going to mess with the successful formula. Right. Is there a part of you that is worried about coming out with a whole different genre? And now we know that you have reinterpreted these songs. Right. But however, this is Marty having a Ray Charles moment. He has stepped outside of his normal comfort zone and is embracing a different style.
I think that's probably partially true. I think that's probably something that I consciously tried to do. Would be to do something that I'm not known for, and it's to sort of step outside the box.
But is it daunting enough? I mean, you're a person that loves challenges. I mean, is this really a challenge for you?
No, not really. I mean, if I were to do something that was like what Ray Charles did with that record, Modern Sounds in Country Music, that record was completely genre bending. Here's a black man singing songs by Eddie Arnold and stuff. It was like really, really, really crazily outside the box. I don't think this is very outside the box on that level. Like if I came out with a heavy metal record or something, that would be kind of more challenging.
The new MC Dread album dropping soon.
Right. That would be more challenging. But I think for me, I'm just trying something. I've always liked this genre. I've always liked these songs, and I believe that the audience is there. Because I play these songs live with the band all the time. A lot of the songs that are in this set of songs, I play them live, and these songs go over every single time, no matter where I'm at. L.A., I could be in, Hawaii, or I could be in Jamaica or Barbados, wherever. People love these songs. Wow. And that is where I find my strength. It's like, yeah, they're cover songs. They're not my songs. But I also have 16 other albums of original songs. So this is my first album of all cover songs. And it's sort of like a tribute to a style of music. So, everyone's done it. Rod Stewart did a cover album, and name them, they've done their album of, their classics, covering James Taylor did it, and, Seal did it, and Willie has done it probably 60 times or something. But what I'm saying is, for me, audiences know. They know. They know that I'm never going to leave being Marty Dread. They're just probably still going to see me walking barefoot, and they're probably still going to see me in the same old jersey I've had for 3 years or whatever. I'm not going to change fundamentally, but the music can still swing further away from what it is that I do. And I think the audience is comfortable enough to know that I'll never sway too far. This record is actually, if you flick back to the picture, is probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek because I'm not a cowboy. I don't ride horses. I don't wear chaps.
It looks believable. I'm sorry, but the photo looks believable. I would say that that's a dreaded cowboy right there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's not me as a person. I don't ride horses. I don't work on a ranch, and so it's a little bit tongue in cheek in that way. Just I did that because of this batch of songs is sort of connected with the whole cowboy culture and everything. So it's kind of gimmicky in a way in that regard visually. But the songs, once again, they're believable. They're good stories and they're done well by really good musicians.
Well, okay. Now I'm going to take Peter, get ready for this. We're going to take a quick break here in just a sec. But when I come back, I'm going to finish out the story of connecting you to Ray Charles to the new album. Okay. We'll be back in just a second here on Channel 55 and 88.5. More to come up next. Did we hit the button right?
Hey everyone! Want to get your message out there, but don't know how? Akaku can help. We have several services that are easily accessible. A hot set, or open mic, is the easiest and least expensive way to get your message out there. Anyone can do it. Just call us at 871-5554, set up an appointment, and then show up at the designated time. It's that simple. After completing our intro classes, you can become certified to utilize our Michael Clark studio for any kind of show you want to make. And once you've finished the class or field camera certification, you'll be able to borrow our nifty cameras and audio equipment and go shoot projects outside of our studio. We can shoot in high definition, which ensures that your masterpiece will look great once it's edited. Akaku regularly records and cablecasts select meetings of the Maui County Council on Channel 53. Give us a call at 871-5554 or visit us at 333 Derry Road in Kahului. Hey everyone! Want to get your message out there, but don't know how? Akaku can help. We have several services that are easily accessible. A hot set, or open mic, is the easiest and least expensive.
Akaku Community Media Center empowers our community through access to education and tools to create video productions. The Michael Clark Studio is a full-feature production studio. The studio is available free of charge to community producers who are Akaku Studio certified through the Intro to Studio class. To get trained and learn more, contact Akaku by calling 871-5554. or visit akaku.org. Akaku Community Media Center empowers our community through access to education and tools to create video productions. The Michael Clark Studio is a full-feature production studio. The studio is available free of charge to community producers who are Akaku Studio certified through the Intro to Studio class. To get trained and learn more, contact Akaku by calling 871-5554 or visit akaku.org. Akaku Community Media Center empowers our community through access to education and tools to create video productions. The Michael Clark Studio is a full-feature production studio. The studio is available free of charge to community producers who are Akaku Studio certified through the Intro to Studio class. To get trained and learn more, contact Akaku by calling 871-5554. or visit akaku.org. Akaku Community Media Center empowers our community.
Learn to use Final Cut 10. Our advanced video editing class will take place March 11th through 14th at 3 p.m. at the Akaku Media Lab. Upon completion and certification in this class, you are allowed to schedule time in our Media Lab, free of charge, for the purpose of making Akaku content for our community access channels. Learn to use Final Cut 10. Our advanced video editing class will
with me is Marty Dredd and a whole class of people that now gets to be our guinea pig. All right, before we went over to the break, I had said that there's parallels in Marty Dredd's career and Ray Charles' career, where now they have this whole moment of let's try a different genre of music. And both of you, dare I say, both of you selected the same song by Cindy Walker, 1955, You Don't Know Me. Now, everybody knows. You've heard the Ray Charles version, everybody? If you haven't, beautiful song. What made you want to go back to that template and say, man, not only is that a lovely song, but that's a song that I need to cover. What made you gravitate to that song?
Well, with this group of songs, it's all country songs redone in my kind of island reggae way.
But honestly, who doesn't know Marty?
I wanted to go, millions of people actually. I wanted to go
It's like, have you seen my iTunes
back
report?
far enough. I mean, I was choosing songs by Conway Twitty and Waylon Jennings, like old guys, and also some new guys, you know, like Tim McGraw and Garth Brooks and those guys. So I tried to find a broader palette so that I could span all the decades. With this song, to me, this is a Ray Charles song. I didn't even know it wasn't his song until I went back and read the liner notes that it was. Eddie Arnold has the first version of it in 1955, and Cindy Walker wrote it. He dictated a story to her, and she went home and wrote it, and then he recorded it and had a huge smash with it. Elvis has covered this song. Bob Dylan has covered this song. Willie Nelson has covered this song. This is a big, big song. I had no idea all these people had covered it.
Wow.
I just loved Ray's version of it. And Ray Charles has always been a huge hit in my family household, and my parents listened to him all the time. But I just felt like it would be challenging because of all the chord changes and the bridges and stuff. Usually reggae gets this reputation that it all sounds the same. It's two chords. It's, you know, you kind of can predict what's going to happen in a reggae arrangement. This is not one of those songs. This is a really big composition.
What about this song spoke to you, though? You talked about finding songs that actually speak to you. What about this song said, man?
Everyone has had this experience. Well, I can't say everybody, but most people have had the experience where you're in love with somebody, they don't necessarily love you the same.
Anybody in here? Anybody?
So it's a universal theme,
Oh.
you know? But the way Ray Charles sang it sold it for me. I don't care who wrote it and what decade it was recorded in or whatever. The way he sang it just was like, whoa.
Okay.
That makes me believe he lived this experience. And to find out he didn't write it gave me more respect for him as an interpreter of songs.
Wow. Okay, well, in front of everybody here, guys, because you're all a part of this experience, what I'm going to do is you're going to hear a song that's not released yet. It's a new song from Marty Dredd. It goes all the way back to 1955, Cindy Walker. It's You Don't Know Me. You're the first ones to hear it.
Anywhere.
So, yeah, on you. But then after this is all over, I've got an open mic here, and we're just going to let a couple of you weigh in on it, if that's okay. Okay? All right. I know some of them are like, I'm not doing this. Now, remember, he's sitting right here, so you got to be nice to the Dreadster. All right. For the debut, the first time that this has been played on Maui Airwaves, am I ever?
Certainly.
Oh, wow.
It's not even mastered yet.
Wow. I am the king of roughshod edits around here. Ladies and gentlemen, brand new from the album Up Country Boy, if you will, lend us your ears, citizens. This is You Don't Know Me on Keaku and Channel 55.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me. Well, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night, and longs to kiss your lips, and long to hold you tight. To you I'm just a friend, it's all I've ever been, 'cause you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by, chance that you might love me too. You give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. never know the one who loves you so, 'cause you don't know me. Say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, 'cause you don't know me. You stretch your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, to never, never know the one who loves you so, 'cause you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by, chance that you might love me too. You give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy, to never know the one who loves you so, 'cause you don't know me.
There we go, guys. What did you think, everybody? Thumbs up. Well, anybody want to jump on mic? Come on over here. We can do this. What's your name?
You may not know me.
Oh.
From the song. But I'm Casey Ledoux, and I think that's great. That's something I can actually dance to. The older one, you know, I would be crying to. But this one, I'm going to be up and boogieing. I really like that. Good.
And that's what I was thinking as I was listening to the song. Did anybody think this, like, oh, yeah, sad lyrics, but all of a sudden, man, I'm just wanting to, you know?
It's got a gallop to it.
Yeah, screw your heartbreak. Man, this is jamming. But this is, to me, this is almost a rewriting of the original because, like he just said, this is a piano ballad. You're used to having the whiskey poured neat. It has to be neat, by the way. Okay, some of the younger people in here, you don't know what that means. You will one day. Okay, but neat. Then you kind of put it right here under your eyes, so that way it catches all the tears coming down. You know, but this. Even though the lyrical content is basically explaining to somebody, look, you know, we have this communication breakdown. You think you know what I'm about, but I'm not. But when you put it to this kind of a melody, it almost sounds like, man, I'm glad you don't know me. You know? Do you think that you've changed the mood a little bit of the song? Because to me, the original is dark.
Sure. That was intentional, of course.
It was?
That was intentional, yeah. To make it... fit into what I do, I had to kind of step up the tempo a bit, and I had to give it a percussive backbeat that was more dance. Because if I could have done it as a piano ballad as well, but as like I said earlier, is I'm not going to do it as believable as Ray Charles did it. So I wanted to do it sort of where it was a little bit more in my comfort zone. If I could get into the groove a bit more, I felt I could sell the lyric a bit.
Wow.
Better, so.
Did he sell it, guys?
He did.
He
did.
See, this is a room full of people telling you this upcountry boy. Hey, good going.
All right.
Hey, you guys want to see the album cover, guys? I mean, as long as you're standing in here. First off, we have this amazing picture. Look at this. Doesn't he look like a real official cowboy here?
He sure does.
I mean, would anybody dare walk on his ranch? I'm thinking he's got a 6-shooter and a bad attitude on that leg.
That's not the cover, however.
That's not the cover. That's one of the inlays. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get the actual cover here. Where's it at? There it is. See?
Right.
That is a country-looking album right there, man.
Sure is.
Kind of goes with that voice we heard yesterday.
Oh, see? Now they're talking about the voice.
I played at a Mother's Day show yesterday that she attended, and I did a Chris Isaac song. And as soon as I went into this, I heard some ladies going, "Woo!"
Did you do Wicked Game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which was also on my list to cover, but I was like, ugh.
Oh no,
Hard
that's
Sell.
got to be
Sell.
for the next album, the Marty Dread Romance King.
I already have 3 more volumes of this songs picked out. I just need to get the budget now.
And that's something nobody believed me on. Guys, if you leave this room with one fact, please know that Marty right now is probably sitting on 14 albums worth of material. Easily. Stuff that he's recorded year after year after year. But then, why is it that you record constantly, but there's some songs, and I've even begged you for a couple of them, you're just like, the time is not right. How do you know the time is right for your songs?
You can't overflood the market. You have to when you put something out and you want people to absorb it.
Because nobody's told that to these other local bands.
Put 9 albums out at the same time and think they're going to... I mean, that's literally how much I write. I probably have 300 or 400 songs published on iTunes, and I probably have 700 songs that are unpublished. They're done. They're recorded. They're done. I just don't like to just throw them all out there at the same time. I'm thinking there's some sort of longevity in that. If you like one of my songs and you... For instance, if you discovered an artist, you heard a song that you loved, and you went back to the internet and researched that artist, is there a wealth of material there, or is that the one song you like? Wow. I want that to be my legacy. If you liked one of my songs, you'd go back and go, wow, he's got a bunch of stuff. Not just, he had that one song.
Well, okay, this is going to sound a little dark, but I really want you to consider this. I don't want you to be the next Tupac of Maui. Tupac passed away in 97, still putting out fresh albums some 14, 17 years later.
This all happened while I'm alive, trust me.
Okay. I don't want to be like 2050 and all of a sudden, Marty Dread's latest CD. Marty Dread? Really?
No, that won't happen.
But you are a guy that is very comfortable in working with other people. So can we talk about some of the other people that you worked with on this album?
Sure.
Because I got to imagine, this is not only outside of your comfort zone for your musical side, this is outside of your comfort zone for guys I can call up to play backline, guys I can call up to play bass. I mean, how did you even reinvent the bands?
I started with reggae particularly. You have to start with the foundation of the drums and the bass. Mm-hmm. So I got like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh's bass player. I went straight to the top of the heap.
Wow.
I got like that very cat. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, if you play bass, you're not going to settle for a so-so drummer. If you're playing bass, help me assemble a band that to accompany you to make it sound very authentic. So what he did is he got Rod Stewart's... He didn't go for reggae people, which really tripped me out. I thought he was going to go for like the reggae cats, studio cats. He didn't. He got Rod Stewart's bass players, but this guy played guitar. Mm-hmm. He plays all the flashy stuff. He got the guy that plays lap steel over the record plays with Dwight Yoakam, and he plays with Bruce Springsteen. He plays with Glenn Campbell. Like this guy's, he plays with Jewel, like all the big artists, right? I was like, man, this guy's putting together the cats. And so what that showed me was that when you put a team together, if you start, the first guy you put in the ring is going to attract all people like him. Mm-hmm. If you put someone that's sort of lower down the pay scale first, then he'll attract his sort. I put like the best guy. I knew the guy was going to be super expensive too, but I put that guy in the production seat. I'm like, you pick the team.
Wow.
And so this is what I got.
It sounds like it paid off.
If you look at the accolades of the people that played on this record, I mean, it's like miles long. They played, the one guy that was telling you, Phil Chen, he's a Chinese brother. He plays with The Doors. He's touring with The Doors right now. He's played with Paul McCartney. He's played with, his main act was Rod Stewart. He played with Rod Stewart for like 25 years.
I'm having a hard time knowing what year it is.
This guy has 25 gold albums.
25?
Yeah, he has 25 gold albums. He's played with The Doors. He's played with Jeff Beck. You read these guys' bios and they, gosh, look at this guy. Okay.
Can I just be honest? Because if it was any of us in here, we would be intimidated. Were you intimidated working with heavy hitters like this? Because, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. You're a heavy hitter in your own world, in your own realm. And I've always thought of you as one of the bigs. I've always thought of you as somebody that was, dare I say, underappreciated in the 50th state.
Well, thank you.
But when it comes to working with artists of that caliber, Doors, McCartney, do you ever just go, dear God, what am I going to say to these guys, you know?
I kind of got acclimated to that environment from being on the road with Willie Nelson, because you'll be standing on stage with Willie Nelson, all of a sudden, like, Bob Dylan will walk on, or Neil Young, and you're just like, I can't be up here with these guys. So I kind of got a taste of that from touring with him. But then when you're in the studio with people, you either can play or you can't. If those kind of guys come in the studio and you give them a chart, if you can't play, they just go, next, get the next guy in here.
Wow.
So that can be scary if you don't know exactly what you're getting at. But I knew what the songs were, what key they were in, what the arrangement were before I even walked in the building. So it wasn't like they had to, can this guy play? Let's like pick his brain and let's see what licks he knows. They were just there to work. So there was no sense of fright for me. Actually, a lot of them I didn't know how many gold records they had before they walked, and then I read
so
their
for
bio,
once,
like,
ignorance
whoa!
played in your favor.
Yeah, because they just came in as guys. We all hung out and drank tea and made songs.
Wow.
And it turned out really well.
I would say it did. What did you guys think? Would you want to hear more of that kind of stuff?
Yes. Sure.
Well, there's a whole album coming out June 4th. So we'll get the waivers signed because everybody in here is now signed to confidentiality.
Was that one
Can you
take?
come to the
Come
mic?
on over here to the
one
mic.
take, a live recording?
Was that one take a live recording?
That's a great question. That's the first album out of all 17 of my albums that I sat in a room and all the band was in the same room. Guy clicked off this count and they all played it in one crack. First time I've ever done it. Because when we live in a world where people can make records on their laptops.
Oh, yeah.
Drummer flies the track over to London and the horn players put their part on. They send those files back, and then the guitar players in New York, and he sends a file to, Boston for the bass player to lay his part. No one even is in the same room half the time anymore.
Does it
But
change
this is the first time I've ever done it.
Does it change
Huge.
that
I mean,
whole
you can hear
dynamic?
it. You can hear it. They're actually a cohesive unit. And when they do a psh, when a guy does a hit, another guy goes ding ding ding. Like there's something that happens when they're playing together that it doesn't happen when they're not.
So we have to thank you. Thank you. Good
Great
question. What's your name?
Yes.
Jason.
Jason. Thanks, Jason. See, this is great. We have a live audience. Oh, come on up to the mic. What'd you like to ask?
It sounds like you have a dream team of musicians that you've worked with. My question is, your lyrics. Do your lyrics are they what you write on your own? Like I've heard some people say that they have been asleep and the lyrics just somehow come to them, or do you have someone writing for you, or are your lyrics inspired by newsworthy events?
I do all the writing. Just going to put that out there so ASCAP and BMI will get my royalties coming to me. I do all that. No. When it comes to your own songs.
Most of my songs come to me in dreams. Really? I'll be asleep and I'll wake up and go, where's my tablet? It's dark. I'm looking for the lamp. And I write down the actual idea of the melody. Mostly it's a melody thing. And once the melody is completely bona fide, that's how the melody goes. Then I go back, and a lot of my songs aren't necessarily from personal experiences, because I write a lot of romantic material. They're not necessarily things that I lived through.
So what he's saying is he's not a very romantic guy.
But there are things that I think people will resonate with. I think that when someone listens to the song, they'll feel the same way. So that's kind of how I write. The melodies come from some astral plane. I don't necessarily know where they come
Aliens.
from. But the words sometimes can be a labor, to make them all cohesive with your melody.
But with this album, you've got all of these great songwriters that have taken the time to write these really, some of them, dare I say, gut-wrenching stories.
Oh, yeah.
Is there ever a moment when you're recording a song and you have to hit the pause button and step away from it? It's like, I'm just going to a mood with this song that I don't want to be in.
Probably more so with this project than any other one, because I'm not sure if everyone in the room knows this, because we did have this interview before they walked in, but these are all songs that were written, before. None of them are mine on this particular project. And they're all songs that I fell in love with as a kid or as an adolescent or as a young adult. So they're all songs that I personally have a connection to. So when you have a connection to a song, you have to emote. If you don't emote, people just like...
Yeah.
I have personal connections to every song in this collection. And it went from 90 songs to 15.
Wow.
That's hard, man.
That is very hard.
Years, too. To pick those songs, to get that down to 15.
Well, at least 3 of them. I mean, I knew about the whole love of country music. I mean, we were sitting at your place. It was. I think we were getting ready for a show that was coming up in a week. Oh, yeah. We were getting ready to go to Kauai, and we ended up stranded in Honolulu.
I remember that.
Yeah, but we were talking about your love of country music, and you're like, man, I just want to put this album together, and I would really love to do it. And you kept talking about songwriting, telling stories. When it comes to being a songwriter, not for Upcountry Boy, but for your own, do you consider yourself the storyteller, or are you just out there, you know, hey, let me make the songs fit the melody, and let's get this up as a 99-cent download?
I've always tried to do music that said something, whether it was a social issue or it was about, you know, domestic abuse, whatever the issue was. I always wanted my song to be synonymous with that issue. When you walked away 10 years later, you went back to it, the issue comes right back to your mind. Not everyone writes like that. Most people, I mean, not most people, but a lot of people write for the pop chart. I don't write for the pop chart. Never did, probably never will.
Well, there's a reason it's called pop. It popped and it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
It is kind of a flash in the pan kind of a moment with that type of music. But when you sit down, and I know this is going to be a long, hopefully 50, 80 years from now, when you sit down at the end of your life and you look back over your career, is this going to be Upcountry Boy? Is this going to be one of the albums that you're going to look back on and think, man, I really should have capitalized more. I should have went more into this territory?
Well, like I said, I won't leave this track now that I'm on it, because when I play these songs in front of audiences, people just flip out. They're like, wow, I remember that song from 1975. My mom and dad were just getting a divorce. Whatever the story is, people resonate with these songs. So I've already picked those first 90 songs, and now I'm at 160-something songs of choices of country songs that I could make into this genre. So I have a feeling there'll be a volume 2 and a volume 3. And,
wow.
you know,
So what other
aside
genres?
from the songs of the albums of songs that I write. So I have a feeling this will be a series, because there's just so many of them.
Well, I mean, since we're going outside of genres, I mean, is there going to be a Marty New Wave album?
No, I think this
Marty's
one,
old school hip hop?
This one just happened so organically. I've always liked this genre, and I never sort of delved into it very much. And I just put together this budget and this team, and it all just happened so magically. Some of the people that... Here's a good story about this record. I was doing a show. It was in Gardena in California. And there were several other bands in the bill. And one of the guys in the audience, I could tell he was kind of like checking, like listening, really listening to my song.
Yeah.
So I walked over him, and as I got closer to him, I realized, oh my God, this is Leroy Osborne. If you don't know who Leroy Osborne is, Leroy Osborne sings second harmony with Sade. Yeah. It's a real handsome, striking African-American guy. He's actually British, but I said, do you sing with Sade? He goes, yeah, I do. And I go, hey man, this is a completely over-the-top question, but I'm making this record right down the street. Would you be interested in singing harmony on it? Because I know you sing first harmony for Sade. He's like, where's the studio? Let's go right now. He literally sang on 9 of the 15 songs. Like,
wow.
He just wanted in. I played him a demo on a little tape recorder, and of me strumming, not even the drums and nothing, of bending reggae and country. He's like, I'm in.
Wow.
Same with Marty Rifkin, the guy that plays the lap steel. As soon as he heard the concept, because this guy plays with all the greats, he was like, wow, you got Bob Marley's bass player? He's like,
yeah,
I'm in.
That's how Marty rolls.
Yeah, that's how Marty rolls. You hear this. There we go. Marty Dread. All right, so we should say that the album is slated for release June 4th.
Yes.
And that's your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Oh, my God. Are we having another party with Marty this year?
I stopped doing that about 10 years ago.
Yeah, nobody noticed, by the way. There's still
I don't do
flyers
that.
out there. It's Marty Dread's birthday. It'll be Rampage playing, but still, it's Marty Dread's birthday.
If you guys don't know, I did it for, I think we did 19 of them.
Oh,
the
yeah.
annual Marty Dread birthday bash, and I would always hire 3 local bands, and I would just be the MC. I wouldn't perform at it. And they were very widely popular. I mean, they always sold out. They're always a smash.
No.
But I just kind of got to a point in when I turned 40 or something, I was like, I don't need to throw my own birthday party. And do all the work.
Do all the work. Ugh.
Somebody should throw one for me one time.
I'm telling you, I'm still in that thing. I throw a party, nobody shows up. Sad, my life. Maybe I should write a country album. But I do have to say, big thank you to Marty Dread for coming in here once again, saving my Okole right at the last minute. I'm gonna play track 12. I think that's which song was that? I can't even remember. I'm just going to play that out on onto the break, okay? Guys, did you have fun coming in here? Are we officially introduced to Akaku? All right. Join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock for more hijinks. Until then, though, let's leave out with one of Marty's. Well, I'm just going to take a stab at it. Do you remember this song?
Turn it up.
See you tomorrow.
Told